Hi guys, Rex here with a new video, and today we want to have a look at the new hero Mockman. If you don't know how DA channels their hero releases, it is always like they release a picture with the description of all the skills, but they take out all the numbers. So like if you usually would see a skill like an active skill on a hero which deals like 1200% of attack damage, it would only say deals damage or deals attack damage. But it wouldn't quite say this deals 1200% of attack damage, so this number is not included in here, which of course means we can't really evaluate the hero right now, which also means I will make another video on him, but we can get a first grasp on his skills, see what kind of hero we are going to get here, and if he's worth scrolling for or not. So with that guys, let's hop into the skills. Mockman, Dark Hero, apparently a warrior. I don't think it is listed here, but during the anniversary stream, I think it was, or it was during the questionnaire after, they actually said that he's going to be a warrior, which is alright. Warrior in general tend to have pretty high stats, so quite nice in my opinion. I like warriors. Starting off with the active skill. The active skill deals damage to one random enemy, which is kind of strange. Usually abilities target multiple enemies, but his theme that is that he starts a duel with one enemy hero and fights this enemy hero until one of them dies. Well, you would think so. I read over these skills and yeah, it's a bit strange. I don't think they've quite followed with this theme, but we will come to that later. He prioritizes enemies with Death Contract, which is basically the skill effect that starts his duel, and deals extra damage, capped of course at a certain percent of his attack, equal to the target's max HP. This is not quite bad. Deals damage to one random enemy is a bit strange, but okay, different kind of hero, so can be nice. I don't mind. The percent of max HP usually something like, I think what was the last one we've seen, like Starry Warriors with 1500% of attack. Likely it will be a lower value of attack. Then again we have, he fights only one enemy hero, so the possibility is there that we will see quite a higher attack value here, which will be interesting. Meanwhile, inflicts Death Contract on the target, taunts them for rounds, and consumes all layers of Wrath Shadow, with each layer dealing extra damage to the target and restoring self HP. So we have three terms in this: Death Contract, Taunts, and Wrath of Shadow, two of which are explained at the bottom. Let's hop in there. Death Contract is a skill effect, so we can't purify it. It reduces the damage dealt by enemies without Death Contract to Mockman. So anybody that doesn't have Death Contract deals less damage to Mockman, usually a good thing, and there can only be one enemy inflicted with Death Contract, so like it's a 1 versus 1, that's the idea of it. And the Wrath of Shadow is just a skill effect. It's a layer that has no specific effect to itself, but if he has it, he does more damage with his skills. So, and Taunt, of course, you may know it from Unimax. If there is an enemy that is taunted, he will only attack the hero who taunted him, and all his skills that usually attack multiple heroes, like for example Starry Warriors, will only hit the taunted hero. So quite a strong skill effect. It usually is called a skill effect on Unimax, which I always found strange because it can be purified with CC Purify, as far as I remember. But okay. For rounds, so it is time limited, which is interesting, and we consume all layer of Wrath Shadow and deal extra damage and restore our HP, so that's nice. And if the active skill defeats the enemy, inflicts Death Contract on enemy with the highest attack immediately and taunts them for rounds. I thought about this one, and this is something I don't really like, because the enemy with that has the death contract can deal full damage to Mockman. So like, if the enemy runs a big SFX, this SFX will likely have no problem killing him and will just slaughter him immediately. And I don't know if that is like that great. And gets even worse considering we have those passive skills. We have HP, armor, control, immunity, precision. So we don't even have DR, nor do we have speed. And HP, armor, control, immunity is another thing I found quite strange. I thought it was like he kills the enemy and then he has 3 mainly defensive passive skills. Don't know what that's about. I had expected something like DR speed, holy damage, or DR speed crit or something. But okay, whatever they will think. I don't really understand those. To be honest, don't quite fit the theme in my opinion. The active is alright for everything we can see. Not too impressive, to be honest. I explained this part. The last part, honestly, really depends on the enemy team. I said SFX would be bad if you have like a Star Devourer EOS in the enemy team. This can be quite good, because taunting her is quite nice. So really depends on who is the biggest enemy here. Vesa, for example, would be quite bad if you taunt her, because all of her attacks will hit Mockman. And Vesa is notorious for being a good boss damage dealer, because all of her hits deal a massive amount of damage, and there are quite a lot of them. And usually she isn't quite the single hero killer in a usual PvP fight, because her damage spreads out. It hits multiple heroes and not exactly one. But if you taunt her and get all the hits on a single hero, that's quite a lot of damage coming in, and it can get through quite a lot of layers of unbending will. So quite dangerous at that. Let's look at the basic attack. Basic attack, we again deal damage to one random enemy and also prioritize enemies with death contract. So as soon as death contract is engaged, we attack the one with death contract, otherwise any random enemy. Probably not slot 1, considering it is random. That's quite good. I don't really like heroes that just plainly attack slot 1. And we deal extra damage equal to a certain percent of the target's current HP. Likely a mistake here in the description. There has to be a cap here. I can't imagine it says like we deal 10% of the target's current HP. That would be OP. Usually something like this is capped, as we have seen before, caps at a certain percent of Mockman's attack. The same will be here. They likely forgot to add that. Because otherwise you could attack like a Flameshrine boss and deal 100 trillion damage with a single basic. I guess they want to avoid that. They meanwhile reduce their armor for a certain amount of rounds and have a chance to obtain Wrath of Shadow. Actually, nothing really impressive in this basic. Interesting that we will not apply Death Contract with it. So we can apply Death Contract with the active, but not with the basic. So his whole theme only starts really when his active starts. So that's interesting to know. Then we have the last passive. If Mockman is in the front line when the battle starts, or when he's in the battle as substitute, increased self-damage reduction, the effect of which declines every round. If Mockman is in the back line, increases self-crit, the effect of which declines every round. So that's interesting for 2 reasons. The first reason being we have something new here. When he is in the battle as a substitute, that is something I have not seen on a hero yet. Usually we have this when a battle starts part on a lot of heroes. Like, let's take Sherlock for example. He has he gets some layers of his it's not a mark, it's just a layered skill effect that makes it able for him to swap health and everything. And he gets this when the battle starts, or when he does basic active, all this good stuff. But if you swap him in as a substitute, that's different. That does not work. And this is actually the case with a lot of those abilities. Drake doesn't instantly apply his defense down, all this stuff. And I like it actually that they have thought about Trial of Champions and included this year that they have substitute skills here actually. That's pretty cool. I wonder if that has something to do with campaign actually. Because it was hinted that we might be able to deploy more heroes than these 6 we currently have for battle. Then again, it's of course useless to introduce such a skill on a normal hero when you can't use normal heroes in the Void campaign. Then we have the damage reduction increase, and depending on the backline or frontline, I think it was Edgar that had a similar skill, such an old hero. Interesting to see something like that coming back, but I like it. Gives you a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of possibilities to change it around. Onkirimaru had something similar, if now that I remember. Yeah. And we have the damage reduction, or we have crits, so we can play him offensively or defensively. So I guess it's really about if you want to use him for disruption with like taunting some enemy and attacking it over and over, debuffing it, or if you really go for that kill. So that's very different at that. Every time he takes basic attacks or active skills, he increases self-crit damage for rounds, will be interesting to see by how much, and has a chance to obtain Wrath of Shadow. As you remember, that's the skill effect layer that makes his skills deal more damage. Was it this also? Only the active skill deals more damage. And afterwards launches a counterattack, dealing X amount of damage. And if the target is inflicted with Death Contract, deals extra damage to them and reduces their attack for a few rounds. I like the last part. Counterattacks are always something that is very good in the game because they ignore some abilities, they ignore some things, and can deal a very good amount of damage if you've ever used an SFX. That's quite insane what she can do with her counterattacks, especially to like an AMB Vesa or something. Attack reduce on counterattack is actually also quite interesting. Probably not dodgeable at that, so that's nice. So there are a few things I've thought about when I read the skills of this hero first. The first thing was that is awfully similar to Saya's skill. Saya has Mesmerize, and Mesmerize basically does is every hero that is mesmerized deals less damage to Saya. And Saya didn't really work out. I really liked her. I thought she was quite cool, and I always wanted to make a working team with her, like an energy feed team with big AoE stunts and to keep the enemy team locked down. And she could have done that because her active skill was really perfect for that. But she had one problem, and the problem was that she hit too many enemies. Like if you ran 2 Sayas, it wasn't unlikely that her active hit 6 enemies. And oftentimes there is a Halora in the enemy team, and that just destroys her. As soon as she hits the Halora, you have her an Unbending Will, and 2 to 3 layers of this Unbending Will are gone. Sometimes even Saya is instantly gone. And this was an issue I was aware of and thought like maybe he has the same problem. But then again, he has one advantage: he hits only 1 enemy, so the possibility of that being Halora is actually a lot lower than Saya hitting nearly every hero every turn. So that is kind of advantageous to him. What I don't really like about it though is the hero that he fights against and that is taunted by him can deal full damage to him. So that's kind of dangerous, I guess. And it's also the question, of course, if it really is like a Halora or an SFX, is that a problem for him? How does it work with dot? Those are things that we have to test. Does he also get damage reduction against dot from like Star Devourer Eos or something? or will that kill him, and how much less damage do the other enemies actually deal to him. Will be quite interesting to see. The other thing was, I thought, like, when they said he's like the dual character, he fights 1 versus 1, I thought they would include the Taunt into the Death Contract skill effect. The way they did it now is a little bit weird, because the moment the other hero gets rid of the Taunt, he's no longer necessarily attacking Mockman. And then it's basically a 1 versus 1 where only one of the enemies, or one of the heroes, Mockman in this case, fights the other hero, and the other hero ignores him and attacks different heroes, which is a strange duel if you ask me. Not like the way it should work, in my opinion. Then again, what can we expect with those numbers? In my opinion, this hero is going to be bad. Without looking at those skills, I could have said that I expected him to be bad, to be honest. I think he will be an annoying PvE opponent, though, if they introduce him into Void Campaign. I can imagine that he will be quite annoying. Then again, he has no marks or something like that, so probably okay if you CC him down, then it's no problem at all anymore. But still, it was to be expected that he's going to be not that overwhelming, not that good. They usually tend to make the heroes that come out now quite bad, because they say, we have the Transcendence heroes, those are going to be good, and then we have the normal heroes, and those have to be worse than the Transcendence heroes, which is to a degree understandable, but has the strange result that mostly only support heroes that come out can be good, with an exception of Holmes Young, which was a surprise, honestly. Holmes Young was a great hero, and normal hero at that. But then again, if you look at the last heroes, there was Natasha, there was Freya, and none of those heroes really succeeds or were used in anything. And the only heroes that are really used are like Panda and Drogon, and those support heroes, basically. But this is nothing new. If you want to scroll at Anniversary, you don't do it because you want to play this hero, because there are just better heroes probably. You will likely do it because you want the Anniversary rewards, and this hero will be the next Transcendence hero, so he might be good. A lot of those worse heroes tended to be quite good Transcendence heroes in the end. So that's something. He can of course still be a good hero. Check out my next video about him if you want to know if he's surprised and really became good, but they would have to add quite high numbers here, and even then he would have a hard time. So with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. We are close to breaking the 1000 subs. Really want to thank you from my heart for that. It's a lot of fun for me to make those videos, and I hope you enjoy them too. And with that, guys, we will see us in the next one.